Welcome back everybody to the channel. My name is Chris, and on this channel we talk about career, cyber, and life. In today's video we're going to talk about some of the cons of working in GovTech. I've been working in GovTech for about 7 years, so I know about some of the cons that's in the field, and I want to make sure people are educated once they get in the field. Working in GovTech is a privilege, but there's also cons to it too, so I want to make sure everybody knows whatever they're getting themselves into when they get in the field. So I'm about to get into it right now. So I created a PowerPoint to explain some of the cons of working as a government contractor. And so I created some slides to better explain it. So I'm about to get to the next slide. So who am I? My name is Chris. I'm currently an information security officer. I've been working in this federal contracting space for 6-7 years. So I've done everything. I've been a project manager, an analyst. I've done many different jobs and maybe some odd jobs in the federal space. So that's a little bit about me. So the first con about working in the government contracting space, when you work some of these contracts, you usually get 5 to 6 years, usually from my experience. Usually you get some option years. So like during the contract, you can get an option year, say it's like 5 years, each year is an option year. After that first year, they can end the contract and basically you have no job, or another company can take over, or you can do your 4 or 5 years. After the contract's over, another company, they can end the contract and just go with another company, which has happened to me many times. And they can bring you on, but sometimes they just don't bring you on. Or the option year can end and then they just don't fund the contract no more, then you have no job and the new company won't bring you over. So either of those scenarios can happen, or another scenario that happens every now and then is sometimes that contract can just get a stop of funding. So if the contract stops and ends, you can just lose your job and you have to find something to pay the bills, or hopefully you got some savings. So that's some of the issues that I've seen throughout my many years of working in the government contract space. Going to the next slide. So another issue that's happening more modern day is government shutdowns, and I experienced this myself. Sometimes they can negotiate in the budget for America, and the government can just shut down until they figure out what they're going to do or come to an agreement. And this happened to me. When it happened to me, I had to go get a job at Giant, and a lot of people knew I worked for the government contract space. So if they seen me or seen what I was doing, they'll be confused. But I was still a government contractor, so I didn't really know what to explain. But the government shut down 1 year. I think it was over 3 to 4 months. So it can go for a while. So you always got to make sure you have some savings while working in the government contracting space, and always plan ahead, or just make sure you have other options to go to. But this can happen at any time. So this happens all the time in the government contracting space. There's a lot of rules with working in the federal government contracting space. Some of the bullet points I write was when working for different agencies, you have to follow certain rules that can be strict. If you don't follow the rules, you can be unemployed. So different agencies have different rules, either smoking or doing anything, or reporting your travel or stuff like that. So you got to make sure you're very careful about that and following the rules, because if you don't, they can say they can tell the contracting company they don't want you no more, and they'll listen because it's the customer at the end of the day. So when you're getting into government contracting, you have to fill out a lot of paperwork to get into some of these companies. So it can be a lot of personal information, a lot of documentation, but you have to fill out a lot of paperwork and make sure you're reading everything when you're filling out all this paperwork. So sometimes, like when you get into some of these agencies, like there can be a large learning curve because you got to conform to how they do things, how their systems are. Some of the bullet points I wrote: working as a federal contractor, you have to learn how the agency does things. Most agencies do certain things differently, like how you get documentation, how you get certain things to do your job. So you have to make sure you're following the rules and just talking to everybody, making sure and writing probably some SOPs for yourself to make sure you're doing the right thing. Some agencies, they have a lot of acronyms you have to follow, so you got to make sure you know the acronyms. It can be sometimes feels like you're speaking a whole different language, but over time you start to understand. So if you're first in it, yeah, it's a new experience. And like I said, they have different systems that you have to learn. So to conclude, working as a government contractor or working in GovTech is a very good experience for you. It's a privilege that most people can't even get the clearances sometimes to work in this space. So it's a real privilege for you to work in it. But I just wanted to explain to y'all some of the issues with working with it in case you can just see it and just say this is not for me. But you know, it's a lot of benefits with working. I'm gonna probably make a video about some of the benefits later on. But if you enjoyed this video, please like the video. If you have a different experience, please write in the comments. I'm interested to hear what you'll have to say. But other than that, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for everybody watching out. Peace out, everybody. I'll see you on the next video.